Hi guys! In this video, we'll be looking at TTArtisan 50mm f0.95 APS-C lens. This lens is designed specifically for APS-C sensor cameras, but in fact, it might be an even more ideal lens on a full-frame camera. In this review, we'll cover the features, performance, and overall experience on both systems. It's made completely with metal and glass, so it's actually a bit heavy for a 50mm lens. The focus ring operates smoothly. The aperture ring has a distinct clicky feel. Despite its tactile feedback, the aperture ring is quite easy to adjust. The star feature of this lens is its impressive wide aperture of f0.95. This allows for exceptional low light performance and stunning shadow depth of field. So you can capture images with beautiful bokeh and excellent subject isolation. Now the real question is, how does this lens perform when you shoot wide open? Let's take a look at some test shots. The larger the aperture is, the more obvious bokeh you will get. At f0.95 and f1.1, it's really soft or jimmy if you want. Even when you are focusing correctly, the center sharpness is still not good enough, not to mention at the corners. The good thing is that there is no noticeable vignetting. At f1.4, it's still pretty soft, but a lot better. The bokeh in the background is wonderful. If you look at the image as a whole, it's a lovely looking image, but the subject lacks a bit of sharpness and definition. I think from f2 to f5.6, this lens has fantastic performance. It's sharp and it has enough contrast, but starting from f8, the quality begins to drop again. f2 is the sweet spot in many cases for this lens if you want the best quality as well as maximum background separation. At f2, it's quite easy to focus even when you are on the street shooting moving objects. But also keep in mind that these images look soft at the corners. Sometimes you might see this kind of funny shaped bokeh at the edges of an image. They don't appear very often, but it's just something you should know. Most of the time, it produces smooth and creamy bokeh, which is ideal for taking portraits, products, or anything that requires shallow depth of field. The large aperture also makes it ideal for low light situations. At f2, you can still take great photos with beautiful background separation and has amazing performance in low light. The minimum focus distance of this lens is quite long, at 50 centimeters. And at that distance, the image looks very soft and lacks contrast, so it wouldn't be ideal for taking photos in tiny space. By the way, if you need any tips on how to use manual focus, I have made a tutorial about that. The link is up there. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that this lens might be more suitable on a full-frame camera. Here is why. Normally when you put an APS-C lens on a full-frame camera, you will see this obvious vignetting. It's so obvious that you will have to use cropped mode in order to get rid of it. But when I put this TTArtisan 50mm f0.95 lens on my Sony A7IV, there is only minor vignetting sometimes. If you're shooting at a dark environment, you won't even notice it. So you can profit from two different focal lengths in just one single prime lens. Another benefit is that most full-frame cameras have in-body stabilization, so when you put a manual lens on it, it will be so much more steady and your image will be sharper because of the stabilization. Like I just said, this is a completely manual lens. It doesn't have any kind of stabilization. And the camera won't be able to record any gyro data for you to process in Catalyst Browse. At 50mm, it's almost impossible to shoot videos handheld on a camera without stabilization. You will get shaky footages like this. If you practice a lot, or if you have very steady hands, maybe the footages will be usable, but I would still recommend setting the camera on a tripod or a flat surface in order to get the most of it. Or of course you can use it on a camera with stabilization, like this video. On my Sony A7IV, the footage is looking pretty steady. Putting stability aside, I'm quite pleased with other aspects of this lens. You can see it's very sharp and it creates amazing bokeh in the background. Even though it has some focus breathing, it's not the worst I have seen. Personally, I think this lens is not a lens for everyone. It's a quirky lens that you should use to shoot for fun, but not for a purpose. It is not the kind of lens that has the most impressive optical performance, but it delivers outstanding results on both APS-C and full-frame cameras. It can produce creamy and dreamy backgrounds, while it lacks autofocus and may require some adaptation. The lens's build quality, large aperture, and overall performance make it a worthwhile investment. At $218, it's quite a bargain. And remember, you can use it on both APS-C and full-frame systems. Alright, I hope you find this video helpful. By the way, I am planning to make a video comparing this lens with the TTArtisan 50mm f1.2 APS-C lens. So remember to subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss it. Leave a comment to let me know how you think about this lens. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.